Welcome to the Vector Garden. In this video, let's talk about gradients and multiple objects. I've got this swarm of fish, and these are all single paths. And when you now apply a gradient to them, then each of these objects gets this gradient applied. And when you move them, this doesn't affect the gradient in the other ones. Why should it? Let's undo these moves and let's take a look at what you can do to make this gradient unified across all the objects. What can you do to achieve that? So number one that you can do is a compound path. So you go to Object, Compound Path, Make, and you see the gradient goes across all of them. And you can take the gradient tool and you see the gradient takes up the whole length of that object. And when you then take the group selection tool and move one of them, that changes the gradient. You see when I move it, it changes the gradient because the length of the gradient is different than when you move, especially the outer ones. Compound paths are great, but maybe you do not like how to move objects in them. So let's release that. And you see each of them has that gradient again. You can have that differently. So let's take a look at different options. I'm going to apply that solid fill again, and let's group them. So we're going to Object Group, and then when I select that and apply the gradient, then you see each of them gets the gradient again. Let's undo that because that's not what we want. We could have had that without the group. Let's undo that. And what you can do with a group is go to the Appearance panel, and then you apply a new fill which gets applied to the group, and that new fill can get a gradient. So in here we have the contents. Let's move the fill, the gradient below the contents. They all have their orange fill, but then the group itself has its own fill and has a gradient. And then when you take them again, they behave like the compound path. And maybe that's not even what you want. So let's undo that group, and then they are single again. What you can also do is apply the gradient, which is now on each of them. As you see when you select that gradient tool, and then you can click and drag. And what you now did is unify the gradient. So the gradient on them is the same everywhere. You see that with those gradient annotations. And now when you move one of them, it just keeps its gradient and takes it with it, and then you can rearrange them like so. Those are your options with multiple objects. Now let's take a look at something different. We have seen that compound path and this special appearance applied to the group can always adapt the gradient to the size of the object. Let's take a look at this situation. So this is just one object. And this often happens when you have that object, you have the gradient applied, and you like how the gradient looks. But now you need to change the height of that object. So maybe this construction here, it needs to be lower. So, and you see, as soon as I make that smaller, the gradient changes, and I do not want that. So what you can then do is cheat. I'm going to take the pen tool and just put an anchor point here, just a single anchor point. And I'm going to select these two and go to Object, Compound Path, Make. So this is now a compound path of this shape and the anchor point there. And then when I change this, then you see the gradient stays the same. So this is maybe not a good idea when you have a file that makes the rounds through your complete work group. You have to instruct them that this single anchor point is there and needs to stay there, because maybe someone takes a look at this in outline view, sees that and wants to delete that, and you do not want that deleted. So this should be taken with a grain of salt. Only do that when everyone is involved and everyone knows that some things exist on purpose. But that's how you can cheat Illustrator.